So I've been looking at experimenting with Ethiopian jazz with a view of maybe making this into a component for the experimenting task for the IBDP course. Looking at this Ethiopian jazz song probably from an AOI2 perspective, but experimenting in AOI4. So I've taken this track and I've put it through the sampler in Logic Pro. To get the different stems of this track, I went to Moises, and there's a free version of this app where you can separate the track into 4 different stems: the vocal, the instrumentation harmony part, the bass and the drums. So I've got an MP3 of this track, I've imported it here, I've pressed next, and then this is the version I want here: vocals, drum, bass and other. So submit. It will then upload, and it will then deconstruct the song into being the different stems. So here it is up here. It takes a bit of time, and it will then come up in the software. Now this song actually doesn't have any vocals, so the vocal line will be empty, but there's a harmony part, a bass part and a drum part. Once that's done, it will then come in here, and you can see I've already put it in here. So we've got the drum part, the harmony part and the bass part. You can hear the quality of the song is not that good. It's an old song, it wasn't recorded particularly well, but it's in there now. Okay, so if we go back to the app now, you can see that they're in there. So this is what it will look like. It also creates a metronome alongside it as well. It gives you the BPM, it gives you the harmony, and there's lots of different catchy, useful features. You can export each track section by section, and I've just imported it. I've just dragged it directly into Logic. What I've then done is I've gone up here and I've added in a software instrument, and I've pressed Quick Sampler, Create. I've then found interesting parts of the song that I like, and I've dragged them into the sampler. This is what I have so far. So I want to add in a new track here. I'm going to just delete this one, and I'm going to find a new sample. So I've gone along my track here and I've found a part that I like the sound of. So on this track here, I've got this. Okay, so I want to import this sample. So I'm going to go back up to here. I'm going to click on the quick sampler, and I'm going to just drag it in. And I'm going to go for optimized. So with the keyboard open, you can see it's down at a low octave. Now what I've done with all the other tracks is I've kept it on slice, and to do that then it will slice up, and you can manipulate this slice. So you can then, it will then correspond different keys on the QWERTY keyboard to different parts of the sample. You can manipulate this. So then, when you find something you like, go back to your loop and then experiment with a pattern. I would just practice for a bit and then try recording. So you can see some of these samples are just too short. You can drag that to make it longer. So you need a bit of practice until you get something that you like, and then of course once you record it in, you can then manipulate it. Let's take the other harmony out just for the moment and have a practice of this. So when you've got something you think you like, let's try and record it in. Put it back on a loop, double click it, let's close that for the moment, and then we can then edit it. So I would still quantize this part, Command A, Q. Now that might interfere with the other melody we've got. It's getting quite busy, but the ideas are in there now, so it's starting to make musical sense. We've got patterns, it's in time, and we've taken all of our stimuli from that original Ethiopian jazz piece. Another reason I've picked this piece is harmonically it generally stays the same throughout the whole piece. So a lot of the stimuli we can use will harmonically work. I think it follows clear musical rules that are definable. It's not a vague piece. It has clear Ethiopian jazz characteristics. And for all these reasons, I think it could be useful within the experimenting component.